if you've seen any of my other videos, you're probably wondering, who am I? What is this channel about? What is the point I'm trying to make? So this should tie it all together for you. At least that's the idea. So first about me, born in San Francisco. I'm in San Francisco right now. In 1964. I was in high tech for quite a while before the internet. And I used to speak in front of large crowds and stuff. Then I retired 2004. So 21 years ago. And I didn't really retire. I started my own company and had to figure out what was really going on. That was sort of my goal. And so that's what I did. I started first archery. My last video was on archery, so you're probably wondering what was that about. Yeah, so I did archery for 8 years. Then fencing. I also did boxing, Aikido. I didn't compete in boxing or Aikido. Then I did bicycle racing before I did that for 9 years or so. So the first race was in 2016. And so it's going to talk about fraud, conspiracy, abuse, and USA cycling. And then it's going to also tie in healthcare, because as you know, I do my own healthcare. And so this will tie that in as well, and what's going on with the healthcare system. So first, let's start off with my first race. So let me show you here. So this was my first race. This is August 31st, 2016, the Winters Road Race. And, I sent an email to this Robert Leibold and said, that I received the DNF. I was in the 35 plus Cat 5s, my first race. And I said, wait, what, first race? I had no idea what was going on. And then here's my Strava. And, I said here, I was right behind Kyle Fraley, who finished third. So I was really definitely in the top 10, probably fourth place. And anyway, I gave him my bid number and everything. And then, of course, he never responded. I tried to get back to him again, but he had put me in his anti-spam filter somehow, right? So I could never email him again. And this was just the first race. And of course, I'm wondering, well, gee, that's weird, but I assumed something was going on, right? So I kept racing anyway. And the abuse kept going on. So I had to pretty much just ignore my finishes over and over again. So that was that race there. Now let's talk about this one. So here, this is May 15th, 2020. And I was riding here, and another person here, Team DFL, Brad, and he threatened to break my face with his bike lock as we were riding, and it was just really, really crazy, right? Here's my race number. Yeah, they never got back to me. And I'm just going to give you 3 examples because there's a lot, all right? And there's also all in my Strava over and over again. But I don't want to be tedious. But then we'll just go with the time trial here. So this is the last time trial I did. And again, DNF. And here they come up with some explanation. This is a time trial, okay? One at a time. And first I did a Merckx race before that, and it was off by 17 seconds. They just changed it. They changed all my time trials, okay? Every single one. And I'd have to email, and sometimes they'd fix it, sometimes they wouldn't, like this one. And then, of course, I would have been third place. But, who's going to care about third place, right? Yeah. And you can see I'm not even wearing, the best clothes or anything. I was just out there for fun, just because I knew they weren't going to do this to me. So this is just, oh yeah, of course. Makes sense, right? Yeah, this is a time trial. So either they should not be allowed to put on races, or they have to admit that it's just been fraud and conspiracy all along. So this is 2023. So it went on from 2016 to 2023. And then there was a next race after this. And it was the Bariani road race. That was the last race I did last year. And again, I got a DNF. But I was right there in the front group. There's video. I got my Strava. Everything's there. Yeah, so it was all there in my Strava. Posted about it. We got the video, right? And so it just went on and on and on. And it's just been pretty bad. So now to tie in the health part. Same thing goes on. Okay, the people I'm racing with, you have to understand, these are, of course, the master's category. These are all professionals, right? Doctors, lawyers, insurance brokers, all kinds of people. And they're all aware of this. This is by assumption, because like in this time trial, I passed up the two guys in front of me, They all know, right? It's just been a conspiracy. They just like doing that. That's what they do. So the Bariani road race last year, I guess it was last year, 2024, I got a DNF. And there was a video just posted. It came up in my feed. Guy, the cycling Greek, and he was in the race too, that I got a DNF for. And he was posting about his heart condition. So the point of his post was that his doctor misdiagnosed him. Doctor originally diagnosed him with atrial fibrillation, and then changed his mind to atrial flutter, and he was waiting to get the ablation procedure. It's just going to take a few months and stuff. And so I debated whether I should leave a comment, because this has just been so crazy. I assume he knows. And so I left a comment saying that I was in the race. They got a DNF. And by the way, I solved my own heart problem. I did a video about that many years ago. And so I said, oh, maybe you want to look at something, right? And he totally ignored it. He totally ignored the fact that USA Cycling, lied, didn't care. And he also didn't care about my possible recommendation, just getting a blood test and seeing what your omega index is, because it might be pretty easy, because this is a pretty common thing. And you can see it's pretty hard to do a video here, because it's just pretty crazy all day long. I've been trying to get this video done actually for 4 hours, and it's just been constant noise. Anyway. But I have to get this video done. So the thing is, he really wants to get this procedure. I think it's like a $500,000 procedure, and generally you need to get, it's usually two, because they messed up the first time. And so it's like $1 million, right? And doctors just love that. They're not going to give you the simple blood test to get a supplement. No. And also, it's like, you feel important that the doctor really cares that they're spending all this time and effort, on you. And so he's just, you're locked in, and you have basically Stockholm syndrome. You don't want to go against your doctor, even though the post was how his doctor was wrong. Now now the doctor is suddenly right? But he can't see it. And I see it over and over again. Because the doctor wouldn't even help me. When I had the same situation, I tried multiple doctors. Most of them just said it was normal. Don't worry about it. And even when I read their own studies and said, here, this is probably going to help, they just blew me off. They weren't going to help. They were not going to help me. No. Okay, so primary care doctors are not there to help you. They're not going to give you the tests to make sure you're staying healthy. The primary care doctors didn't want to be a primary care doctor. They wanted to be the specialist or something, famous, do something, put papers and all that stuff. But instead, they see sick people all the time that really can't, take care of their own health. And so they're just there to get you into the funnel, for revenue. They're not there to help you. No, not at all. So I have to do my own health care. That's what I do, my own blood tests, and I have to do everything myself. And also, I don't take performance enhancing drugs. As you can see, my hair, I got a little, I'm 60, almost 62, and I got just a little, and I had just shaved my head. If you see my previous video, sometimes I'm bald because I just shave my head once in a while. But it's winter now, tomorrow's Halloween, and so I just let it grow back a little bit. But it's still, not bad. But you can see, and I also put all my blood work, because also at the same time I started racing, I started taking all my blood work, and I published it all online. So my creatinine and my testosterone, my LHS, FHS, all that, it's all there. I posted it a while ago. I don't think anybody read it, but it's there just to show. Yeah, I don't take performance enhancing drugs. And if you've seen some of the other videos, podcasts, like the Roadman podcast, all these other ones, it's like, and especially in the masters category, apparently half of the people are taking performance enhancing drugs. And yeah, I was still able to compete with them, no problem. So that's sort of important, right? So it's just to be aware that there are a lot of conspiracies out there. And as I was going through, it took me like an hour to get these emails, because as I went back to go get all these emails, I remembered I came across all this stuff that was going on. At the same time this is going on, I had to sue a business partner, and I was getting like 300 spam emails a day. It was just crazy, And so it was tough. And then of course the back, can't search properly. It was hard. So, and all the noise. But I finally did it. So I have to get this video out. Hopefully this will turn out. So I want to try to do it in one take, because I don't, produce my videos. It's just me. And I just want to get some information out there. So you have to be careful of your doctor. They're not there to help you. I just talked to a person yesterday on my bike ride, and her doctor never gave her, a bone density test. They don't do that. And then she hurts herself, gets hurt, ends up with 6 back surgeries from running. She hurt herself just from I don't know, did something. But I see that all the time. I see people running, exercising, and generally they're messing themselves up because they don't exercise properly. And that's one of the things I did about archery, is that you have to do it properly. Otherwise you will just destroy your shoulder. Right, so now to finish it up, tie it into the technology side. So also before this, I was working on a project that became, cloud storage. And the reason I didn't follow through on myself, because I was actually working on it on my own back in the 1990s, was one reason, of course, competition. I was going to have to compete with big companies. I figured that would be a problem. And the second thing was, just concentration of all that data in one spot, high risk. And then also, the governments, right? They're going to, it's just, you have to have the hassle, privacy and all that stuff. So I didn't do it. But I still, if you've been following my software, you'll know that I've been still writing all the software. And the last thing I did, was file sharing. So it's a secure communication and file sharing, peer-to-peer, end-to-end encryption with the cloud storage, so you can bypass those issues that I had originally. So I created something to bypass all of that, right? Because I believe in the First Amendment. But now, for the end. So what I'm moving on to now is Second Amendment, right? The well-regulated militia. But it's different because, we're not going to, the idea is not to, defend yourself against the government. No. I think it's pretty common knowledge that, here we're starting nuclear testing again, and so we're going to be ending up in World War III soon. Who knows when, right? Could be 10 years, 20 years, whatever. And the goal of what I'm thinking is, have a group, or me, at least me, be able to survive somehow. And then, because after as you know, Third World War is going to be fought with nukes. And then after that, it's sticks and stones. I mean, it's been said for a long, long time. We can pretty much assume that things are going to be pretty messed up. And so it would be nice to have, a militia to survive that and then build the new world after that. Because we want to preserve freedom and liberty, after the tyranny. Because that's the idea, hopefully. So that's what I'll be working on now. And yeah, so that's the video. Hope it works.